Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Today I got my copy of the 5th edition DM screen. It was finally delivered, so I'm going to open this up and have a look and see what's inside. I don't really know a lot about this. I actually intentionally avoided any spoilers or anything like that about it. I just kind of want to see for myself without any expectations or preconceived notions before I actually open it. So we'll get to that in a second, but before I do that I just want to show off some of the other screens that I have in my collection. So the first one I ever bought was the Dungeon Master screen for the Forgotten Realms. I got this back in, I think, 2001 or 2002, maybe. It wasn't when right as soon as it came out, but it was $17.95 Canadian. And this is just a little thing to go over it. Set that aside. And the screen actually came with this booklet here, Encounters in Faerun. It's a 32-page booklet. That's just basically filled with encounter tables, which is really, really useful. So it was nice to see that with the screen. And the artwork on the screen itself is actually, quite nice. Different style from a lot of the artwork that actually appeared in the books. But there you have it, and there's the last panel there. The stuff inside had, the weapons charts, your attack roll modifiers, cover, partial action, stuff like that. A lot of DCs for things, turning undead tables, calendar stuff. I never really used this one a lot. The screen itself is just a bit too tall. And the tables I was at were always smaller and the players were close, so it made it difficult to actually see over the screen to see what they were doing. But after that, they actually released the landscape ones for 3.5, which is the one that I have just back here. And it was bundled originally with the D20 Modern screen. I don't have the D20 Modern one anymore. I actually gave that to a friend of mine who had interest in the D20 Modern. So I just have that. I don't have the cover that goes over it anymore, so I'm kind of sad that I lost track of that, but the screen just has, the red dragon on the front and some kobolds and the iconic characters there. It's not the most interesting one, but after that I picked up the Deluxe Eberron screen. So the things that are in the screen are pretty much the same, so let's do that quickly, but just get this off here. And it actually included a fold-out map of the continent of Corvair itself, which was really nice because the campaign setting didn't actually have the map like a lot of them did. So set that aside, and it has a lot of the same. It's pretty much the same screen on there's hardness, size modifiers, turning undead, attack roll modifiers, actions, stuff like that. It was nice, but again, I never found that I was using a lot of the stuff on it. Which brings me to 4th edition, and this is the screen that came with the Dungeon Masters kit. This was actually by far one of my favorite screens. I found it really useful with the experience charts from when you level. It has the modifiers, stuff like that, but it also has stuff like damage by level. If you wanted to just make something up on the fly, there's a guideline of what the damages would do if they were attacked by a trap or a monster that you just kind of made up on your own. The biggest thing that I found that I liked about it was the conditions. Now, conditions were a big part of 3rd edition, and they were never included on any of the screens that I had. So our group spent quite a bit of time actually looking through the DMG to find what page the conditions were on, so we knew what the differences were between them. And there were more conditions in 3rd than there were in 4th. So that being on there alone made it really useful. And then I got the Deluxe Dungeon Master screen. This was released, to the best of my knowledge, it was released after 4th edition had come out. This one was actually only $10.95 Canadian, whereas the Eberron one, just a second, I forgot to get the price on that. So the Eberron one didn't list a Canadian price. It only had the US price, which was $14.95. This one's $9.95 US. And nothing else came with it. There's nothing included inside. However, it is a much thicker stock, so it feels more durable. All the information inside is still the same, but it just feels it's more sturdy of a DM screen. And it just has just a red dragon ogre, and Displacer Beast there in a fight scene. So, with that out of the way, let's get to the 5th edition DM screen. So, I haven't actually taken this out of the plastic yet, so let's see if we can do that. Just one moment here. This stuff can always be a bit of a hassle to deal with, but we'll get her. So like I said, I didn't actually go through a lot of information on this, so I have no idea what's actually on the screen itself. I know that 5th edition was more about role-playing than just combat, so we'll see how much combat-oriented stuff is on here. But that's just the cover page there. Ooh! Actually, I like that. So inside of this is actually something that you could use as a poster if you wanted to. And just the information on the back. Now this retailed for $17.95 Canadian, which was kind of up there considering that there's nothing really included with it, but it does have the thicker stock similar to the 4th edition one that I had. And so we got the dragon here. Those look like the iconic characters that are actually part of the Icons of the Realms starter set minis, if you have that. And over there, some kobolds. And some more kobolds. So let's have a look and see what's inside. Ooh, okay. So the inside is color, full color, with some illustrations actually, which is really cool. NPC characteristics, ideals, bonds, and flaws, as well as a name generator, which is actually really cool. So that helps a lot with creating stuff on the fly. If you need an NPC name or some characteristics, then that's actually really cool. The name generator, I think, is awesome. It's done by Syllable. So, and then you've got the conditions, which take up the next 1.5 panels, it looks like. DCs, cover effects, travel pace, and then a something happens chart, which is just some random events. A door opens, a fire starts, or meteor shoots across the sky. One of them is, where did I see it here? Number 14, if you roll that, somebody has to go to the bathroom. So it's kind of cool. And there's actually a picture of the Tarrasque there. So, along with the illustrations of the dice, which is kind of neat. So, there's actually not a lot of combat stuff on here, really, which is nice to see. There's a few things that, you would want, like what cover does. I'm surprised that there's not actually a list of... Well, I guess they don't have modifiers in 5th edition, so never mind. It's advantage and disadvantage, so that's a little bit different. So, alright, so as for my final thoughts on the screen itself, I like the screen. I like the artwork on the inside. It's nice to see some full color art on the inside. It makes it look a little nicer than just kind of the... a lot of them tend to be black and white. The 4th edition ones had some colors on the inside, but it was just for the colored bars here, as well as some of the headers, but, I like what's in here. As for the charts themselves, I find that the NPC one's going to be pretty useful, especially if you just want to make up some stuff on the fly, or even if you're just preparing for a session. You want to make up an NPC, kind of quickly, then you can do some random rolls to find out some of what their characteristics and things are, so that can always be useful. Conditions are always great to have because I find that you can spend a lot of time looking for them in the book. And, the exhaustion chart is something that's also very useful because there are things that deal extra levels of exhaustion. So that's nice to see there. As far as the other charts go, I don't know how much I would use a lot of the other ones. The DC, setting a DC, I'm pretty sure would get some use, but the skills are already on the character sheet, so they don't really need to be on the screen. Quick finds are nice, but they're all things that are basically window dressing. I think a little treasure chart would have been a little bit nicer if you're trying to come up with something on the fly. But the something happens one I actually really like. I think that's kind of cool. So, it's nice thick cardstock, and it sits really well actually. This has just been opened, and you can see that it doesn't really necessarily try to fold back in on itself like a lot of the thinner screens do. So it's nice to see that, and of course the artwork on the outside is really decent. It's nice to see the iconic characters from the 5th edition starter set in there, kind of tying that into it. And of course, the Red Dragon looks pretty awesome. And of course, the kobolds are actually well drawn as well. As far as the price point goes, I think it's a little bit high, and I know I've said this about a lot of the 5th edition products so far, but at $17.95, it's a bit steep. That's the Canadian price, of course. It's $14.95 if you live in the United States. But the fact that, you know, the 4th edition screen, which is made of the same material, actually looks to be, well, maybe a little bit thicker, but I think they're pretty much the same size. But the fact that this screen was $5 less, you know, this, to me, was more of a value for the dollar. I bought this full price at retail, whereas this one here actually cost me a little bit more than this, even though I had a big online discount. So, you know, that part I'm not necessarily happy with. It's another one of those things that's going to end up pushing people towards online ordering instead of supporting local shops. I mean, as far as, you know, buying something from a local store goes, this one's one of the cheaper things to get, but like at the same time, the online savings are a bit hard to ignore. Is it going to be the most useful for dedicated or long-time veteran DMs? It's hard to say. I think a lot of people would probably want some more stuff related to combat, like armor class modifiers and stuff like that. And they do have a cover system, so and most other things kind of provoke or award advantage or disadvantage. So maybe getting rid of something like the skills and associated skills, for example, and putting in just a few examples of things that grant advantage or disadvantage would have been a little bit more useful. But, you know, with all said and done, it's a decent screen. It's nice. It's going to last you a while. If you get the chance, you know, you should definitely pick this up. I think it's worth it, even if you just have it as an item to have as a collection piece. So I like the screen. I don't know what everybody else is going to feel about it, but I think it's worth it. So if you get a chance, I hope this video helped if you wanted to decide whether you wanted this or not. I would go and pick this up. I mean, even if I didn't get it online, I would probably bite the bullet and pay the $17.95. That being said, though, it's nice that I only ended up paying about $12 to get this. So anyway, that's my review of the 5th edition DM screen. Take it for what you will, and you know, again, I hope it helped if you were kind of on the fence about it. It's something that, you know, I don't mind having, but I know other people may not be necessarily enthralled with what's on it. Anyway, that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, YouTube.